For me, it was, someone needs to be the adult in the room. This isn't working anymore, and there's a lot of toxicness going on. And like, I know the money's great, I know this and that, but someone needs to say, this needs to stop, and we need to separate from this. And then we also kind of like said it, on show. Networks don't like that. They like making those announcements. They like controlling that narrative. They didn't say anything to us because that's not how they work. But I just know from experience, we basically told the people we're done, and I know that was probably not super. They were super stoked about that.
I think that we like also wanted to control the narrative. We didn't want something written that was like, oh, Little People Big World's canceled, and like I think we wanted to like write the narrative.
The people then say like, oh, they canceled or they don't want, like, it's like, no, we're making a kind of a big boy decision here, and
like this is our
we're
decision
stepping away from something that's at the top, and like this is not. You get what I'm saying? I kind of wanted that respect a little bit. Like, we wanted that respect a little bit of like, this is our call here, and it's a big one. So like, we don't want it to be manipulated any other way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably like the first thing you got to say on your own without like their hand in it.
I do what I'm told. I'm very good at it.
I know how you feel. I don't like messing up stuff.
Oh, no.
Like, I want to make everybody happy.
Oh, yes, dude. I'm a rule follower, all the things. And so,
I am not.
You're a rule breaker.
I'm a rule breaker.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Tori does not like to be told what to do. So reality television was not a great industry for her. Working with the producer and all that stuff. So like, I'll do it when I want to do it.
I
wasn't cut out for it.
You get lines, sometimes, like, because sometimes when you film, you guys maybe know this, you film something and then once you see it on camera, be like, that makes no sense. We have to come in and add words to it or something, or add a sound bite. You know what I'm saying? In the time, it makes sense. So they would have us do that, to like add
so
sound bite. I was great at it.
Were you great at it?
I was great at it. I said exactly what they wanted me to say every time. And you would always, you had to change one word just to
Well, they would like give you a line to say, and I'm like, I would never say that. I would never, they would give you some like fancy dancy worded whatever, and I'm like, this is not how to say this. Yeah.
That's funny. I didn't even realize, but it makes sense. Like anything with without the full picture is like, wait, what's going on?
Right.
Is the show canceled?
Like, they haven't come out and said it, but like, we're not continuing.
Yeah,
so it is.
They haven't like said like if your parents or anything.
Yeah, they haven't said if my parents are continuing it in some form or if they would continue it. But Tori, me, in that current format, I think reality television, we're done. I don't know. You never know. We're can never
boring.
Say no.
Like, we're like, people have asked us like, would you ever have your own show? And we're so like, who would want to watch that? We were like the comedic relief of the show.
We're very aware we're not willing to do what needs to be done to be the sole characters on you know what I'm saying? The drama, we're not willing to do that. So it is like I don't want to say no to anything.
Yeah.
But the current format of I wasn't totally stoked for how the last like 5 years of Little People World Within the Family was kind of managed and run. So not even like a network issue, but also kind of a network issue. And that format. But they have not announced it. So
Gotcha.
But yeah, it was a great run. It got us to where we are now. But now we're kind of excited for the future and see where these opportunities take us.
Do your own thing.
Yeah, and see what we want to do. And like, I'm a big soccer guy. I want to maybe start a soccer podcast one day, but
I know he's already planning to ditch me. He's like,
How
do I get rid of this chick?
Dude, okay, why is it like when I think, because I'm a big Game of Thrones fan. We loved Game of Thrones and watched it. And
terrible ending though, right?
The ending.
We actually kind of liked it, but we think it's because we didn't watch it in real time. We binge watched the whole 8 seasons together, so we didn't have the build up, so we weren't like let down.
Okay.
It was okay. Like, was the ending amazing?
Yeah.
No, but yeah, since we binged it in a month. I feel like I don't know how long you watch it for, but for someone who probably watched it for 8 years, probably was pissed that it
I think I came in like probably 4 years in, and then we binged
and then we watched
whatever was up
year.
to that point, and then it was like the last couple seasons.
See, that would be hard because even that's how I feel about House of Dragon. Like it's hard for
is that
each.
related to Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
It is. It's the prequel. It's the prequel to Game of Thrones.
You gotta watch it.
I think it was on your Instagram. That I was like, we gotta check this out.
Okay, hold
But
up.
it's easy for me to get let down on those episodes because I'm like, I waited 2 years for the next season.
yeah.
You know, I can see where if we would have watched Game of Thrones that way.
Because you mentioned this on your podcast, it was cool to have representation with Peter being Tyrion in Game of Thrones. I wonder why
I love
they didn't.
Tyrion.
They should have
So
brought
good.
him back or brought back somebody else to have like a similar like character to Tyrion
So good.
in House of the Dragon, because there isn't anybody.
I don't think it would have made sense though, because that's what made him so unique in the first one.
Oh yeah.
If they had already seen a dwarf before, he wouldn't have been who he was. That was the idea. Is Tyrion was this like you know what I'm saying? Like it was
The
unique.
first of his kind.
Yeah. In the family bloodline.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying a little
Yeah.
bit?
I get what you're saying.
If that was in the bloodline before, I feel like his story wouldn't have made as much sense.
That makes sense because it
So-
is like House of the Dragon is like several
Before.
years before.
Back to the PC stuff though, I'll admit, like the term dwarf I was like, wait, is that the correct term? Because you have like
Being used in Snow White, you didn't know if it was outdated.
It's almost like a mythical creature or whatever in Snow
if you
White.
look up the dictionary.
No, it's changed though.
It's
it
changed.
used to.
If you looked up the dictionary
Like
15 years ago,
Merriam-Webster
20 years
dictionary.
ago, it would be a magical creature from a fantasy land.
Yeah, what
So,
was it though? It was a magical creature from something.
I thought it was fantasy.
I was just reading.
Oh
I just
my
read
gosh.
all the Aragon books. I read those when I was like in middle school, and I've gotten back into reading again as an adult. And I was like, let's just reread these books. It'll be fun. And yeah, there's like you have just like a book series like Lord of the Rings. You have the dwarves in the books, and so for me, I was like, wait a second, is this the right term? But I guess the dictionary definition.
Some
has
of it I
changed.
feel like is like marketing too. Like I don't know. This is my own theory. So when the term dwarf became super popular, it's a marketing, like it's an organization for people with dwarfism. That's I know what dwarfs are. Like I've seen them in Willy Wonka and whatever. What's the Golden Road?
Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's a marketing thing there, and I feel like in a way, but now we're more definitely. There's more people with dwarfism on camera, television, so you don't have to say that. You can say a little person. Someone will say, "Oh yeah, I know that." You know, that's my theory.
Yeah.
But back then, if I was creating a organization for people with dwarfism, you say what people would know. What word is the popular word at the time? You know, it's like M word, D word. Now little people. You know, so.
Gotcha. No, I'll have to check out your soccer podcast whenever you start it.
Okay,
That could be kind of
Don't
rad.
encourage him now. Okay, come on.
We did a coaching soccer topic on our podcast. It was our lowest rated one. Brutal. Okay, I was so into it. Like, it's like
I was stoked.
our pie chart showing all of our ratings. That one just no one wants to hear me. But that's okay. I'll live. But I still might do it.
Project.
It's a passion
That's the
project
thing.
for
Some
sure.
things it's important to do some things even though they
Exactly.
don't
bring you joy.
bring that money or whatever. It's important to
And it was a good episode. Whoever
I thought it was
they probably were
fantastic.
listening to me too much because I was like, oh my gosh, we're talking about soccer again.
Do you coach your son? Does your son play
Yes,
soccer?
yes.
Oh,
That's
you're the
fun.
coach.
Yeah.
That's
I love
really-
that.
He's
That's
such
what
a
I
good
did
coach. He's good.
I've done that since I was like 15. Work with kids and then having my own kid. The COVID took a year, or Lila was born, and then COVID happened. And then once you have your own kids, it definitely, I'm like, man, I can't imagine. I'm going to coach my kids. I might go back into competitive coaching, but, when you have your own kids, I'm like, I want to.
This is where it's at.
Yeah,
That's
this is where it's at. I
awesome.
can't.
And he's so good.
I would have a harder time.
You don't want to hand that off.
Well, I would have a harder time dealing with someone else's kids. No, I would still coach my kid, but then also in addition, like dealing with someone else's kids.
Oh.
Like this is where I want my patience, my capacity.
Yes.
My, this is my focus here.
I'm sure that's probably how you feel also about teaching.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
You're like, because I think about teaching, like so many teachers are with kids all day.
Yeah.
And they come home and they're like, oh, their kids.
I don't know
have
how
their-
they do that. Like I feel like that would be really difficult to be a mom who teaches all day with other kids and has to come home and be present with
My
her
mom
kids.
did, yeah.
That would be really, and like I think one day I can see myself going back when all of my kids are in school, but yeah, like my friends do it now when they have like babies at home, and I'm like, how do you do that? That's so hard.
Their capacity just grows and grows.
Yeah.
It's-
Your dynamic and just seeing how you talk to one another and interact with each other. It seems like you just have such a healthy relationship, and it seems like you like clearly obviously love each other very much. What do you guys do that you think helps build that bond that you have?
Well, thank you. That was sweet. I think that Zach and I are super reflective people. Like, I think we're really like we go to every situation and every, hangout or anywhere that we go, we get in the car and we immediately reflect on like, what did we do well? What could we have done better? Like in parenting and relationships. And, I think that that's something that's really helped us in our marriage, like just being reflective and communicative with each other.
Just like emphasis on team too. Like everyone has a role,
which I struggle with sometimes. Like just like things, like little things. He always talks about like it's us, and like a lot of times I find myself saying I or my kids, my family. Like no, it's our family, our kids, our time, and just even that small little adjustment I think is super important and can change outlook on a lot of things.
Yeah.
Do you guys have like a weekly date night you do, or is there some sort of like ritual or something that you guys do together that's like, this really, you don't have anything?
When we moved up to Battleground, we
left our babysitter roster.
I know, we had such a roster. And then we just haven't been able to recreate it.
But we go on date night.
But we do go on dates, not like a weekly thing. I think we go on date night more average than like a lot of people. Like we still make time for just us. I mean, we're on this trip by ourselves. This is like such a gift just to be here, and obviously we miss our kids, but I think we do a good job of like, I think for us we don't always have to go somewhere or go on a date to make time for one another. Like even if it's just we put the kids to bed and we watch a show together, just
the intentionality.
Yeah,
it's cool to see how you guys have respected like your family, your kids, and just wanted the best for them clearly. And so it's clear that leaving the show was probably, like you guys clearly thought about it a lot and really thought through that big decision, but it seems like you really care about your kids and keeping boundaries between reality TV and your family. How do you navigate family boundaries with extended family now that you have your own family?
You experiences, you get burned or whatever, and then you realize like, hey, this is what needs to happen. You get a lot, like I'm a very passive guy and I want to make everyone happy, but yeah, when you do have kids, it does light something under you where it's like, this is not happening, or we're separating from this, or we're doing that.
I think when you intertwine business with family, it gets super complicated. And I think that this, last year almost that we haven't been doing the show, it's really just trying to figure out what does our relationship look like with our family outside of business. Like we're not working with our family anymore, and that's kind of what I was alluding to. I don't think that was always navigated the right way. Also, like beyond reality television though too, just having space sometimes is really nice. Like when I love like in-laws, they're great. They're great, but sometimes being 45 minutes away from family it's okay. Like we don't all have to live next door to each other. We don't all have to hang out. We're like, I feel like for the first time, especially in Zachary's life, like I went away to college, and so I kind of got a taste of what it means to get away from family and like do things on your own. But I feel like for the first time in our marriage, we're completely making decisions on our own without the input of anyone else, whether it be friends, family, anything. Like we're doing our own thing in Battleground, and we're loving it. Like we're having fun and making friends on like
on your own,
and it's just been nice.
Battleground,
awesome.
There's not a lot of people I feel like you can make friends that people maybe don't watch Little Big World up there. So